Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the bench. I just rewatched the last episode, and this is now 2 days later, just to sort of catch me up to where we were to where we are now. In the last episode, you witness a very bad untaping of some of these parts on the ship, and I didn't make any video yesterday. I just spent the whole day touching everything up. I finished touching it up and it is better. I do have a picture for you, which I'm going to put up. I think the camouflage is coming together. And what I think is really the problem here is, number one, I'm not happy with the colour. You've heard me say this. But I think it's because I'm looking at it under such strong lights. So, if I turn my lights off, there's one and there's the other. It kind of looks really, really good. And like this, it does. It looks very good. It's just that really strong colour with the lights on. So if I put the lights back on, one and the other, there we have it. So, yeah, I don't like it under such strong light, but I think the camouflage works very well under normal lighting conditions where it's not lit up. So that's where I'm at today. So I'm fairly happy with the touch-ups. It's kind of coming together really well. One of my lights did drop yesterday and it rolled over and hit the ship. And it did slightly mark it here. So I'm going to have to give this another touch-up. The other thing too, with all the touch-ups, it kind of left some brush marks. I do know that when I use a watered down one on top of the brush marks, sort of before it dries, it can and does generally remove them. But some of this floor was, you seen the other day, it peeled the entire floor off, and I'm like, wow. So I had to use fairly thick paint to get the level back up, and then thinned out paint to try and give it that sort of brushed look. Kind of happy with it, kind of not. So I think what we're going to have to do there is, when I'm finished with all the touch-ups, I'm going to have to get some spray and hit this with some flat, I think, some flat clear. Matte clear, flat clear, doesn't really matter. And just sort of help protect it a bit and just, yeah, bring it all back to the one level. Overall, though, it's pretty good. This is one of those pieces that I end up ripping all the edge off. And basically, I just went around with a brush and I practically repainted all of these. So, yeah, I did finish off a couple other bits and pieces while I was at it. I did the flue, and I've still got to do the top. So, where are we at today? This is a very good question. I'm going to have my coffee for a minute, and I'm going to think about it. So, I suppose what we do from here, because we do have the majority of the painting done, I suppose we go back to the beginning and we just continue on and build the ship. So I'll see where we're at. Done this page. I'll just quickly catch you up. Done this one on the flooring as well. Done all of this except for the actual props. So I'll just mark those in red, and then we will highlight the rest to say all done, or everything else. So for now on, what it's not done, I'll highlight red to make it a little bit easier to see. So I'll go to the next page. So in the next page, we're basically back to building the floor, where we've got to put the capstans on, the anchors, and a few other bits and pieces, which I'm not really keen to put on until after the flooring is on. So, and same with these very fragile side bits. I think we're going to leave them till very last. So what we'll do is we'll just add this whole page to the red, this whole section to the red, like that. I think the whole page, because all of this stuff is all about, yeah, after the floor goes down. So we're going to give this page another miss. Turn it over. We'll turn it over. Okay. This page and the last page is still really about what goes on the deck. And there's a whole bunch of pipes and flues and vents and a little bit of flooring. There's a whole bunch of little tiny stuff that I'm going to have to go and find, uh, work out and what they're going to be painted. But I don't think that's for this episode. Well, I'm back here. I've just gone through quite a few pages forward, and nearly every single page is all about the tiny little pieces that have to be done. Which is not going to make for a good episode. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to collect all these bits and pieces, clean them all up, work out what colours are going to be painted, and get them painted. Things like the anchor, the capstans, the chain points, or the to anchor up. I don't know what these are. I know on the ship they're like handrails or something, but I don't know what they are there. Every page seems to have a whole bunch of little stuff that's all got to come off, and I can't really mark it off until I get them done. So I think that's where we're at. So I'll get all the parts. So there's all my K and L sprues, and yeah, there's 4 of them on this kit. So we'll take all the parts off that we need. Here I have this L23. They must be testing the limits of the plastic moulding here, because that again is got to be less than 1/2 mil. Well, there's all the parts off for just this section, including the anchors and these little tiny bars. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them cleaned up, and I think I'm just going to black the whole lot. These are super tiny, and they have, looks like a piece on this side that needs to stay. I've still got to continue to take some of these sprues off. Yeah, I still got some paint on my fingers from yesterday. So I'll clean them up. There it is, all clean. One of the things I really like about this ship is actually the attention to detail. There's a lot of detail in it, and this is just one of them. So there's the other one before I actually clean it. You can see all the sprues on there, sprue bits and pieces on there. So I'll take all them off. There's the next one all cleaned up. Not bad. As you can see, these are tiny. Just got to take that last little edge off. Here it is sanded. We'll just brush it off. There you go. With that. Nice. There's the next one all cleaned up. Yep, looks pretty good. And finally, the anchor. So what I'll do is, I've got a few more of the same pieces. I'll go ahead and clean them all up, and then I'll come back. And there we have the final piece out of all that bunch. It's 8 o'clock. I better go post the next episode. So there's all my pieces cleaned up and ready to be blackened out. Well, there's all the pieces stuck down, ready to be painted black. I already had some of the black lacquer paint still mixed up. I just gave it a swirl. I think I'm going to reuse this on these small pieces. The other thing I'm going to mention is I was having a lot of trouble with my gun, and I've been soaking the end now after every night. It does need it clean because I just pulled out the thinners. But since I've been doing this, I've had way less problems with the gun. So if you're having the same problems, good top tip, get your tip cleaned. So there is the first dust coat. So I'll just wait a minute and I'll give that another hit. There is another light dusting on it. So I'll let that dry now for a good 20 minutes because I want to handle those. The only way to pick them up is you have to handle them. So I want to make sure they're really dry. And I'll turn them over to do the other side. I was just taking these off. Hang on, I'll get back in view. I was just taking these off, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I'll paint underneath, because there's a slight chance that if I paint underneath and glue these down, the paint, especially black, can run. So I think what I'll do, because they're nicely painted, I think what I'll do is I'll just leave these off, and I'll just, if I roll that over, so there it is underneath. If I roll it over, you can see there that, yeah, I really am going to think, I think I'm not going to paint these underneath. And pretty much the same with the rest of these. These all get glued straight down. They're painted nicely all the way around. I think I'll just leave them. So there's the last remaining few that I just took off before and cleaned up. We've done the one side, I've turned them over. So I'll paint that and I'll come back. Same process, there's the dust coat. So we'll give it 5 minutes. There we have a slightly heavier dusting. So I've pretty much sprayed from this side onwards, and at some point I'm going to have to come around and spray back that way as well, just to make sure we got everything. So I'll give it another 10 minutes. So there we have the final paint. I'll wait for them to dry and I'll put them with the others. These capstans, I seen a model ship the other day being built. And the problem with them is by the time you put the chain around them and the black and how small they are. Now, what I liked about this one that I watched, and it's not my idea, they painted like a brown on top, and just that little extra colour just gave it a bit of a lift to sort of say, ooh, look at this. So, yeah, I mean, they look nice, but you can lose them in the ship, but a little bit of brown on there should look nice. It was like a brownie bone, so I'm going to actually try that on this one. There's my anchor, and I'm also thinking that it's probably going to be a little bit too much on the side of the ship. So what I might do is later on, I might give this a dusting, just with a bit of silver or something, just to mellow it down a bit. It's a little too strong up against the ship. So there we have all the pieces now finally painted and dried. I think what I'll do, I'll put them in the box, because I don't think I'm going to add these until after the floor is on. But I might add the rails to the outside of the ship a bit later. But when I do, I'll bring you in and show you that anyway. Where are we now? Well, that is now all these pieces technically done. And even though they're painted, but they're not on the ship, so I'll still leave this circled. I won't cross it off yet. And we will continue on with the build, but I think we'll catch it on the next one. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you've sort of caught up with the ship. I'm still not overly happy with the colour, but I do find it much more pleasurable to look at when the light is not shining directly on it. I'll just give you another look. So there it is with the light off, and as you can see, that really light colour dulls right down, almost, and it does, it completely changes the ship. I just put a couple of pieces of paper there, just so, with the camouflage, I've noticed in a few pictures I've taken, it actually does get lost in the picture. So that is the backside, and all that work I did yesterday, I think paid off. So yeah, what I'll do, I'll turn it around, I'll show you the other side. So here is the other side, and technically this is my favourite side of the ship. Yeah, I don't know, I just seem to like this side a little better. So yeah, that's it without the lights, and it's quite refreshing once you get away from those lights. It just, that kind of yellowy colour which we were looking at before, like this. No, that's not it either. Let's try this one. Yeah, it goes from like a yellow, which is kind of really yuck, and it tones right down. It sort of tones itself right down, and yeah, it looks quite nice. So yeah, we will continue along. I think from this point forward, we are going to kind of build it and put it together. This is why we're sort of getting all the bits and pieces ready. And again, I'm probably not going to do the floor just yet, but we're not too far away from it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Sorry about the disaster from the last episode, which was 2 days ago now, I think. It doesn't matter what disaster you have, you can always bring it back. A few hours later, a bit of hand painting, and I'm pretty happy with it now. So, hope to see you on the next episode, and we'll see what we're doing next. Bye for now.